Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I am joined today by Bill Wright. Bill is one of the broker owners of Remax Executive, which is where I work. And I thought it'd be interesting to spend just a couple minutes with Bill getting some insights and perspective from him um, to hear what he has to say, especially as we end the month of April, which is really the first full month that we've been in this coronavirus, or I shouldn't say the full month, but a month that we can now look back on and say and compare this month to a year ago. So, Bill, thanks for joining. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, tell us just a little bit about your role at Remax. Tell me a little bit about Remax Executive for people that aren't aware.
Okay, sure. Well, I am technically the broker of record for the company. It's my broker's license that is the company operates under, but that doesn't give me any special power or anything else over my other two partners. You know, we're all broker owners. But I see my role is I do wear a lot of hats, but one of the roles is actually trying to maintain the culture of the company that we've tried to create. And so that the culture is fulfilling the needs of the real estate agents that work for us, and thus we can service our clients as well as we possibly can. But a lot of the effort and planning and strategy goes into building that culture that we're trying to maintain. Also,
sorry, I was just going to say, tell us how many offices and how many agents we have altogether.
Oh, sure. We have 8 residential offices, and we do have a commercial office that's just strictly commercial real estate. They don't do any residential, but 8 residential offices. We have 150 sales agents. We cover a large geographic area. We sort of consider ourselves a regional company, not just a single office, not a single town. We cover pretty much and have a large market share in about a 30-town area. So.
Great, thanks. So tell us a little bit about the year-over-year statistics for April, this April compared to last April. How are things trending?
Well, as expected, but let's talk, I'll talk a little specific. One of the things we look at are new listings to the market. Analyze on a month-to-month how many new listings came onto the market, and for the 30-day period that we're sort of looking at, it's a drop of about 45% of the new listings that came onto the market. A lot of reasons for that, obviously. But what follows with the listings is another thing that we look at to try to measure the market is the number of showings that are happening on the listings. A home can't sell if somebody doesn't see it. As much as today we're doing as many virtual showings as we can, 3D tours, etc. People still ultimately have to go see the home to be comfortable with proceeding with that large of a purchase. Showings also dropped by about 50% over a year ago. But what was interesting is the year was trending toward less showings on the listings prior to the coronavirus. So we are running about 10% less showings per listing this year than last year. And that's, I think, because of the lack of inventory just in general in the market. There's still such a high demand. When a home comes on the market, there's this influx of activity, and then it's under agreement. So the 50% off wasn't necessarily that concerning compared to the amount of new listings coming on. Ultimately, the measure of business is how much new business, how many transactions went together, how many homes went under agreement. And again, it was very consistent. It was down about 42% over a year ago. And it's at a time when we come out of the winter months where we're at sort of our lowest point of business, and we look at the March, April, where there are busiest months. So to be down at this time frame is concerning, but the truth is it means we're really running at like a December or January volume of business is what. So it's not like there's no business out there, it's just at the midwinter volume.
Sure.
It's the best way to put it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks. So if someone were listening today, or you were talking to someone, a prospective buyer or a prospective seller, what advice would you give them in terms of what to do, whether to list or to look to buy? What type of advice would you give them?
Great question. And I think the answer is twofold. And the first, it has to deal with the health perspective and the safety perspective. Is somebody in the need to sell or buy, or are they in the want to sell or buy? If somebody is in the need, an example, they had a job relocation, and the one spouse is already in Columbus, Ohio working, and the trailing spouse is here with the kids, they need to sell and get their family together. That's one scenario. And then the others are, no, we'd just like to move this summer. Okay, that's more of the want. But the health perspective is everybody has their own comfort level, and they need to, each prospective buyer or seller has to be comfortable with the process of what is involved before the financial decision of do we move forward or not. It's first and foremost the health. Are you comfortable with the safety precautions that will be taken? And if so, do you want to move forward? And if so, if somebody does choose to move forward, as I just said a few minutes ago, it's sort of like the midwinter markets, which if there's a buyer out looking at a home today, they're a real buyer. It's not somebody who's just going to open houses, tire kicking. It's a real buyer. If somebody has their home on the market, they're serious about selling their home. So the match between buyers and sellers is very good. It's a imbalance, I think, supply and demand. That being said, we're still seeing competitive bid prices on homes, when they're priced properly. But so there is business out there. But the advice is, we've been asked by a lot of buyers, geez, can I get a steal out there right now? And
Right.
Unfortunately, no, we haven't seen any measurable change in prices whatsoever. It's still moving on business as usual from that perspective.
So that's great. So prices are staying put. Still some multiple offer situations. So it comes down to a health question. Are you comfortable with it or not?
Right.
And a need question.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And the need and health and go hand in hand, I think. Somebody who needs to move, they're going to, they need to move. It becomes truly an essential, shelter is an essential business, that's for sure.
Gotcha. All right. Well, those are the things that I wanted to cover today. I really appreciate your time, Bill. Thank you for joining us and sharing that perspective with us.
My pleasure, Eric. Anytime.